Hey, my name is Iris. I've been streaming for about 3 years almost. It'll be 3 years on January 6th. And I realized I never actually made a proper introduction video and never answered why I became a VTuber. I mean, no one ever asked me that, but I figured I'd answer it anyway. So, when I was young, I always wanted to be some sort of content creator. I wanted to be a Let's Player. I wanted to be a gaming YouTuber. I always wanted to do that. It's felt so comfy, right? I watched lots of people growing up, and it would just be nice to come home after school and just throw on a little video and watch people play a game that I was interested in but didn't really want to buy for myself. And I realized there was this kind of, it was nice to be able to experience a game for myself, basically, while it kind of felt like I was holding their hand. You know what I mean? Like popular games, whenever they came out, I would watch several different perspectives because I'm like, oh my God, how would you react to this? And like, I wanted to know, even though I never wanted to actually play the game for myself. And now that I'm older and I can afford those games that I couldn't afford when I was a teenager growing up because, well, I didn't have an allowance and I didn't want to get a job, I just wanted to like go to school and come home from school and watch Let's Players. Um, and I couldn't really ask my parents for games because, well, they were like, well, what about that last one? Did you already beat that last one? That last one was $60. Why do you need another one? Like, we can't just keep buying you games. So I'd have to just play the same game for like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, which is why I typically like MMOs, like playing them on my own time because that's all I grew up on mostly. Because that's like $15 a month was a lot more reasonable than like asking my parents constantly. I'd be like, oh my God, the new WoW expansion is coming out. Can you buy me the new WoW expansion? And then I have other free hobbies of such like fan fiction writing and reading fan fiction and looking at fan art and like engaging with communities online rather than actually consuming the content in the actual way it was supposed to come out, like by playing the game. But that's essentially why I wanted to be a content creator. But like why VTubing, right? So I don't consider myself ugly. I just think it's a pain to get dressed, right? And I feel like with some people, right? Initially, I wanted to do completely faceless content, but when I look at like faceless content creators, only a very few amount of them are successful. And I did think maybe I could do it, by being a faceless content creator. I never tried, I guess, doing faceless content. But I was like, oh, whenever I end up doing content, I'm gonna be faceless for it because I was like, I'm not gonna do content when I'm a minor. Um, like I didn't want to. I mean, I did upload a video with faceless. Like I uploaded a like, Oblivion Let's Play. I don't think you can find it on the internet anymore because I tried very recently and I could not find it. But oh gosh, what was my train of thought? But why VTubing? Well, I don't like getting dressed. I like sitting around in my sweatpants and I like being comfy. And I've noticed a lot of the times with women on the internet is that we get to be overly criticized for our appearance, how we look, and how we act, and our certain facial expressions. And I didn't want to subject myself to that sort of critique. I am very thick skinned. I can take a lot of criticism, but I also will cry on my own time. I'll be like, yeah, haha, whatever, I don't care publicly, and then I'll be crying in my room at night. But I didn't even want to like risk that, like I'm sure the people close to me are like, no, you're so pretty, you're so blah 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 blah. I don't care. I don't want to get dressed every single day. I don't want to put in that effort, you know? And then all of a sudden, things like one of my favorite faceless streamers was like, I have like something new that I can use to engage with my audience, a little character as it were. And that's when I discovered VTubing. Nariness rebranded from her previous identity to Nariness, and I was able to essentially that's how I discovered VTubing, and that's also when I discovered Niji Sanji as well. I became a huge fan of Kuzuha and Kane, and I was like, oh my God, this is something I could do. Like in the past, there was like, I occasionally dabbled into watching Lily Pichu, but like people who had like little anime anime identities, as it were. And I was like, that's so cute. And now they can move and act as your face. I really was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I wanted, because I don't want to put my face out there. But I still want something to identify me as me. And I'll have like a little, like, oh my God, that's Iris. And I didn't, like, something like easy. So like I could just like, log in, launch my little programs and get right to it. I don't have to go take a shower. I don't got to do my skincare. Like God forbid I eat something wrong and I've got a huge breakout and then I can't do content because my face is broken out and I'm so worried about like that being seen. I don't have to worry about like camera filters. I don't have to worry about upgrading webcams, and I can just relax and just like be myself. Plus, come on, I say some pretty outlandish things, and I am really glad that I feel much more comfortable behind this identity of Iris, because God forbid anyone I know in real life recognizes me after saying the things I've said.
I'm sorry, this is not the kind of real estate you think. We're cutthroat here. We're gonna beat the shit out of people and have people piss on their property so I can buy it for cheaper. Alright, this isn't happy real estate. This is cutthroat, worse than Yakuza business real estate. I'm gonna show you the dark side of the underworld so deep you're gonna wish you were still with your papa drinking milk from your mama's titties, okay?
Some of my old coworkers do watch me, and I do remember I did show them some of my clips, and they were like, "Girl, you said this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, honestly, like, how horny can I get playing a fucking beaver game? Oh yeah, these beavers are gonna commit so much fucking incest. These beavers are gonna fuck. There's gonna be two beavers that are siblings, and they go into the same house and they make fucking babies together. Oh yeah, and then they're gonna piss and shit in a fucking corner in the fucking house. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, because I want to say a little bit more tame in public and in a professional setting. I still act up a little bit. I'm still a little silly, as it were, but not to the extent that I'm on stream. And even with my friends, sometimes I'm not that unhinged, as it were. So someone might ask, what was the process of becoming a VTuber? Like, how did you become a VTuber? Well, funny you asked. In December of 2020, when I decided I wanted to be a VTuber, I was doing my final exams for a university I no longer attend. And I was scribbling down like some little drawing ideas. And I was like, okay, initially I wanted to go with like maybe like a human sponge, right? I wanted to be a sponge because with my ADHD, I felt that it reflected that like I would just absorb knowledge and I would absorb certain aspects of people like a little sponge, you know? That's how I considered myself. And then I was like, I don't really want to do that because I don't really know how you would like personify a sponge. So I went with like the other thing that I've always been obsessed and I've always liked vampires. And so that's why I chose a vampire. And I was like, okay, well, I like when vampires have pointy ears. So I asked for my well, I when I designed Iris, when I like first drew her out, I drew her with pointy ears. I gave her little fangies, and I know my fangs aren't super obvious. Hold on, let me just get a little closer for you. I got the teethies. I do have teeth. They're not super obvious most of the time when I talk because they kind of like hide behind my lips, but I do have some sharpies. Let me give you some distance. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry for getting so close. So when I drew up my little sketch, I wanted it to be simple, right? I wanted to have a very simple character. I wanted a little sweater and I wanted some jeans and I wanted some boots. And this was before I like really looked at any other VTubers. I kind of just designed Iris without any other frame of mind. Like I just designed Iris to be incredibly simple. And then when I reached out to Cerise, my art mama, the cherry tree spirit. When I reached out to her, she was very kind and she brought Iris to life. Very much so. Like, look at this art. It's so cute. I'm so attached to it. And here is the full thing. I know most people are surprised that Iris has legs, but Iris does have legs. Iris has full body movement. Look at her. She's very bouncy. She's very lively. She's very cute. And the movement was done by Quenchy, Mr. Crunchy, as it were. And initially my 1.0 rigging wasn't that smooth and great. Like, you can look at my debut stream that I have saved on my YouTube.
Hello, it's time for me to commit murder.
It's very embarrassing and cringe to look back on it because I was so shy back then. I really held myself back a lot when I first started streaming because I didn't know how to act. Well, people always say be yourself this, be yourself that, but it's really hard to get in the groove of just doing that, especially because I am a huge introvert. I don't like going outside. I don't leave the house past 6 p.m. unless I'm going to work. I don't like going places and I don't like doing anything. But being yourself is really hard, and to act like yourself really took me a long time. It took me 2 years of streaming, I think, to fully open up. I think like January of this year, 2023, is when I was like, fine, I'm going crazy. I'm doing whatever I want. Because I had been averaging about 6 to 7 viewers my whole time streaming. And clearly, whatever shy personality I had going on was not working. So I just had to be more of myself. And I really, I don't really think I've grown all that much this year. However, I feel like as a person and my own personal happiness, I think I've grown a lot this year. But yeah, that is how and why I became a VTuber and a little overview of my journey so far. Honestly, there's not really that much, and you can honestly just look at like old streams of mine. But yeah, I am Iris, and if I've met you before, it's good to see you again. And if it's our first time meeting, it's nice to meet you.